To Know Thyself, a show dedicated to the expansion, empowerment, and magnetism that comes from reclaiming who you are on a soul level. This is a space where we experience deep remembering, feeling into our powers so deeply that we know with clarity who we are, why we're here, and how we're here to do it. I'm your host, Megan Blessed, and together let's dive deep and explore the world of spirit like never before. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan. I am so excited to be back. How exciting. How exciting is this? I want to thank you all for so much love and support that you gave me as I entered myself back into the podcasting world. When was that? I guess that was 2 weeks ago. How fast time honestly flies. Wild. But today we're just going to get right on into it, honestly. I want to talk about something that not that it's talked about often, but I want to kind of just talk about this in a new way. So hear me out. The title of the episode, as I'm sure you already know, is that everything is connected. And literally, I'm sure, and I know that so many people have talked about this, but it really had a new truth for me. And I really started to look at it with a new lens starting back in May. So picture this. I'm going to start by telling you a story. Back in May, my partner, Jason, went on a trip to Egypt. And I stayed back and held down the fort at the house and took care of our dog. And I just let him live his life, which I think as every couple is incredible. Our first date, all he would talk about is ancient civilizations. And so this has been like a dream trip for him to go to Egypt with this special Egyptologist and this certain person. And so it was finally happening. And I was over the moon excited, a little bit jealous, but nonetheless very excited for him. And he'd be gone for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, one, it was my first time in our new house by myself, so that was its own cute little journey I went on. But more so, the things that were happening between the two of us, even though we were so far away, were just a miracle. I think it was the new moon. Yes, it first happened on the new moon. It was my first time I really allowed myself to get really witchy in my new space, because when I really found myself in awakening on my spiritual journey, I was either like in a small apartment with roommates, or we were on the road for, a little over a year living in different Airbnbs. So this is the first time I literally have my own little sacred space that is all mine, that I could really just do it up in. And so I feel so grateful. And so that new moon, I went to my local witchy shop and I got my candles and I got my herbs and I got my anointment oil. And I really let myself have a whole new moon ceremony where I danced and I sang and I did all the things. And of course, that was special for me. But the really special part was the card that I pulled. I always pull cards. I'm sure if y'all see my stories, my altar is decorated in all of my different oracle cards that I pull, whether I keep some up. For example, we just had the 7/7 portal, so I pulled some cards for that. That's on my altar. Pull some cards for the full moon. That's on my altar. And, depending on the different seasons and stuff, and or if I'm embodying a certain elements, the rose, for example, I'll put, a card from my rose oracle on there. Or right now I just got Rebecca Campbell's new healing water. I'm pointing because it's next to me, but I doubt you'll be able to see it. I just got Rebecca Campbell's new Healing Waters deck. So I've been really playing around with that deck lately, especially as I'm entering into the womb priestess. We are all about those sacred water vibes. Anyway, so I always pull though my guardian cards, and they're not actually, I forget the actual name of the deck. I always just call them my guardian cards. I think it's like light keepers. I don't know. I'll put it in the show notes. But I call them my guardian cards, and they literally have like every single god, goddess, angel energy from like every single culture. I've never seen such a well-rounded deck. And I just love them. And I pull them for all of my client sessions as well as my ceremonies to watch over my my ceremony and, my creating and keeping protected the sacred container that I make for my clients as we go into session together. But a cute little thing that I like to do is that I don't like to read my guardian cards until the end of the session. So I'll pull the card and I'll pull maybe some other oracle cards as well, but I don't like to read like the meaning or anything until the end, because then it's like a fun little surprise because yes, I pulled those cards and how exciting is that? But then as you go through the session and the ceremony, you come to the end and you're like, wow, this is so incredible that everything that this card like represents came through just organically without my conscious mind, trying to like manipulate or like organize, like, oh, I pulled this card, so of course this is going to happen. Like, so I love to leave it to the end because I feel like it's just like a fun little surprise. So longest story long possible, I pull this card for my new moon ceremony, and it was a card with the guardian Serapis Bay. And I've never pulled this card before, but just looking at this card, hella Egyptian. Like, I was like, okay, we're bringing in some Egypt energy into the ceremony while Jason's away. Like, how exciting is that? I go through my ceremony. Oh, forgot to mention. Before I start the ceremony, because Jason and I are now on like, I think we're 10 or 12 hours time difference apart. So my nighttime is his morning. He was up really, really early Egypt time because he was catching a flight to Luxor. So he was always like, oh, I'm catching my flight to Luxor, like yada, yada, yada. It's really early. I'm like, okay, no worries. Like, have a good day. Can't wait to hear all about it. Because I believe he was in Cairo, so they were flying up. So we have that little conversation. I sit down to do my new moon ceremony. I pull my cards. I get Serapis Bay. I go through my whole ceremony. I dance, I sing, I do my little thing. I journal. I do candles scrying. If y'all don't know what that is, it's like staring at the flame of the candle. It helps cleanse your eyes. It's a really big. I learned it in yoga teacher training, but you can also do it. I think mediums call it something different. As when it's also another way to, connect with the other side. So I pull this fucking card. How many times am I going to say this? And at the end of my ceremony, I get to read about Serapis Bay because I never pulled him before. And I go and I read, and turns out he was a high priest located in Luxor. And so I was like, holy fucking shit. Jason, you're on your way to Luxor right now. So I take a picture and I send it to him, and he reads the description, and he felt like this card was really like meant for him. And I was like, wow, like how incredible is this? Like what a coincidence. As we all know, like there's no such thing. So we have that experience. I'm like, wow, like how connected are we that, we're thousands and thousands of miles away, but, we're so connected that your energy is still coming through for me in my ceremony. Then I think maybe like a week goes by, and Jason is at the temple of Isis. And I've been reading the Sophia Code. I've also been working with Isis for, since like April of last year. That's when I really started like walking my priestess path and really started to dive into the goddesses. And Isis was always one that really stuck out to me, as I feel like she does for many. But she was the first one that I kind of dipped my toes in with and who I started with. But I haven't really felt her. She was very present, I feel like, for me and the collective last summer. And then, that I was, just on my own journey, and I even have her oracle deck over here. And then I didn't feel her presence as strongly as I was like when I first initially started working with her. But then in May, she started to really pick up for me. I started pulling her in my guardian deck again and started working with her oracle cards again. And I was also reading the Sophia Code by Kyra Ra. And Isis is the first chapter of the Sophia Code. Or I guess Key Code 1, as I like to call it. So I'm reading about Isis, and, it's an incredible book if you're really attracted to the divine feminine and embodying the divine feminine. The Sophia Code really walks you through the different mentors of embodying, Sophia within you. And it's just incredible. So after reading about Isis's life and how, she came to really be Isis now at this point and become initiated to be a master for the Sophia Code and the Sophia Dragon Tribe, there's a part where it's like you read about her and then it's the Isis transmission, and that you read and it activates, Isis's Sophia Code within you. The day that I started reading the Isis transmission, Jason just also happens to go to the temple of Isis in Egypt. And he's at like the tail end of his trip. I think this was maybe like the second to last day that he's there. Don't quote me on this, Jason. I guess you would be the only one to know. And he goes into this temple and, he's come a long way since we've met with his intuition and feeling into his body. And, he does my work. We do work together. But I wouldn't say that he's necessarily getting like the strongest downloads as maybe some other people that wouldn't go to Egypt would be kind of searching for that. He was honestly not really searching for, the spiritual. He just like wanted to be in the presence because he loves ancient civilizations and, really connecting the dots and bringing them all together. So he's in this temple and there's a podium there. I think it's made of granite. And he goes and he walks up to the podium and it's like so casual. I think he just like goes and just like simply like taps it or just like, brushes his hand on it. And he receives this full body activation, like a zap, like through the portals of his feet, up his entire body and out through the crown of his head. And literally, he came back and he was completely shifted. And I was like, wow, isn't that crazy that the day that I'm reading the Isis transmission here in Joshua Tree, California, that you are in Egypt receiving a literal physical full body Isis activation, like at the Temple of Isis. And it all just really had me thinking of how connected you are to your soul family and how Jason and I could have been, we were thousands and thousands of miles away, but we were still experiencing similar things and having all these synchronicities happen and not being physically present with each other. And then it had me thinking of, how many times that we might have been sending these little signs and synchronicities to each other, before we even knew that each other even existed. And then it had me thinking of manifestation in general, right? Of how many times that we might be seeing visions or even receiving signs from either our future partners or our future business or our future homes, for example. And we just might not even be realizing it because at the time we just simply don't even know like the potential and the weight these at the time they might be little signs, but the weight of these little signs might be having us, and that they are actually evidence and proof to us that the frequency does exist and that we are aligning to our manifestations exactly as we need to. Another story that has happened to me is that, Jason and I have been looking for a house for a while when we were, moving out to the desert, and I just never knew like when it would happen. It's not like we're like rolling in it by any means. So, buying a house is a very like big step, financially and, like relationship wise as well. But I kept seeing, I never knew where it was, but I just kept seeing this house. It was this in like my visions, like when I would picture our house together. And I would see like a reddish, earthy house with this giant Joshua tree in the front yard. And granted, even when we lived in Joshua Tree, right now we're in Yucca Valley. When we lived in Joshua Tree, I never saw a house with like a giant Joshua tree like right in front of it. So I honestly just like saw that vision and I was like, oh, this is just like me like dreaming, like daydreaming. I'm visualizing. Like, I don't think this is like the house, like it's just like the house that I picture us in. But then lo and behold, after, and I'm sure I'll tell the story. I mean, I've told it in the past and it's on my Instagram, but I'm not going to go into the whole story again for this particular pod. I mean, maybe we'll see. But, once I was going through yoga teacher training and Jason found the house that we're currently in and he sent it to me on Zillow, I saw the color and I didn't even think of it. And then we got to the house and I saw that there was, Joshua trees everywhere. And I didn't even really think of it until when we came to that house that first day. And, I'm very, I'm feeling into the house, I'm feeling into the trees, I'm feeling into that. And I usually, by the time that I'd leave the house and I'd sleep on it, by the next day, I'd usually know if I was getting like it's not our house. Usually by the next, I'd be really excited in the moment, but then I'd give myself some time. This is having emotional authority in human design. By the next day, I'd be like, it's just not it. But with this house, I woke up the next day and it was still, I still wasn't getting a no. And then the next day, because it was an open house 2 days in a row, we came back and I started feeling into the trees, into the Joshua trees that were here. Because at previous homes, we'd think that, this would really be it. And then the trees would literally tell me no, which I know sounds fucking insane, but like, just ask. And you'll feel it. Like I'd feel into the trees and they were like, no, like this isn't it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And so I started to feel into these trees here and they kept telling me yes. And I was like, and then you start to feel that edge and I'm like, okay, like what is happening? Like what is actually happening? Like I know we've been like really striving for this and wanting this and now it's actually happening. And like, are we sure? And then it wasn't until our offer was accepted and we started to come back more and more that I realized that it's the tallest tree on the property. We have a giant, tall Joshua tree. I call it our guardian tree that is right at the front entrance of our house, like into our driveway. It's like at the edge of our property on the front yard, and it guards us. And I was like, oh my God, this is the tree that I was seeing in my visions. I just didn't think this could even be real. I just didn't think this even existed. And with that, I was just again like, wow, like it's so interesting to me how connected we actually are to our desires and the things that we want. But it's our own, we let our own consciousness and our own like, oh, well, that can't be real, or like, oh, like that can't be a sign, get in the way of really playing with our desires and communicating with what is very much there, but we just haven't been able to, it's just not in our reality quite yet. And this is because everything is connected. Everything's connected. Our business life is connected to our personal. And you'll start to see if you're unhappy with what you're doing for the majority of your day, it's silly to think that that's not going to affect your personal life and your personal relationships, because what are you doing after work? It's going to feel very differently if you're feeling really good about what you're doing and spending the majority of your day doing. Maybe you're eating healthier. Maybe you have the energy to work out. Maybe you have the energy to, be intimate with your partner and chat with your friends and feel like you're in a sense of connection rather than when you're drained. And, feeling like there is very much a lack of purpose, then like we don't want to connect with our friends, because then they're going to ask us how we're doing and we're going to not want to talk about it. And we're going to want to just sit and not move our bodies because we're just fucking exhausted. And, I'm really talking about my personal experience, and numb and drown myself in whatever way I possibly could, because I felt like that was the only time that I really had for me. And so I really tended to self-isolate. There's a connection with our physical body and our spiritual body, right? Like we could have this beautiful, insane spiritual practice, but it is nothing without the vessel that we experience it in. It is nothing without bleeding together both of our worlds, our spiritual and our physical, because in here is where we get to experience and live our lives. It is the relationship with your womb space, with your womb, your physical body, and then your relationships with not only your partner, but with everyone else. I mean, I've seen a direct connection with my pleasure practice, connecting with my womb, and then looking at myself in the mirror and almost not completely negating my body dysmorphia, but it has made such a huge difference, because I am literally loving on myself so much that now I see myself in the mirror and I see my full body. I see my curves and I'm like, damn, girl, you're a fucking goddess. It's crazy how much just simply connecting with your womb and connecting with that pleasure center, because you're connecting into your body, then you can see yourself physically and be like, damn, like this is a vessel of like full fucking pleasure. Like this body is like absolutely fucking amazing. And then having that own special one-on-one pleasure practice and be able to bring that into your conscious partnership if you are in a relationship. And how amazing it is that now that I have this practice, I'm able to communicate and use my voice and use my needs, and I understand what actually feels good. I understand what brings me a lot of pleasure and joy. So then when we are in that space, it's so much better. It's so much better. It goes back to kind of what I was talking about in our last episode. Like so many people just want to be told what to do. And I feel like a lot of women in this space don't explore themselves enough. And so they think that their partner is the only person. They're just supposed to know what brings your body pleasure. And let me tell you, they don't. They don't, not as much as you do. And so then I was like feeling into that connection, like, oh my God, everything's connected. But it really brings me to this point of then overall transformation. When we think of bringing these big things into our lives, right? The house, the career, the partner, the business, the lifestyle into our lives, a lot of the time we think that we need to change our entire lives, because also at the same time, when we think of the people we are with those things in our lives, we're like, damn, like, or is that version of me that has this, this, and this acting the way that I'm acting now? No. When we think about making big changes in our lives, I feel like we can either lean on or be a fusion of one of two type of ways. We either think of the big changes and we're like, holy shit, it's like an all or nothing. Like, I need to make really big changes, really big lifestyle shifts in order for me to get there. I need to make more money. I need to change. I need to get a new job right now. I need a new partner because clearly, like, I'm not happy. Or it's time that in order to get the partner that I want, I need to change everything about myself in order to get there. This, that, and the third, right? Like thinking way, 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 way too big to the point where it's almost unattainable and a lot of the time unrealistic to think that we need to make these major changes in order to bring in these major changes. Or it's the other end of the spectrum where we wait for the universe and life around us to start giving us those signs. We wait for the perfect timing. We wait for things to shift in order to give us the green light, being like, okay, now it's time to leave my job. Now it's time to work on my relationship. Now, like, so it's either like, I'm going to change everything about myself and make big, probably, unsustainable changes in my life, or we're on the other end where we don't do anything at all because we're just waiting for the green light to come. And with this, what I say is that what if instead of thinking about that we either need to wait from all these signs of the universe that if you don't make any action anyway, you're never going to receive the signs that you need because y'all are playing with each other. The universe isn't going to give you anything that you're not already doing. It's a co-creation. Or then on the other side where you go so fucking big that then you burn out and you might not even, the changes that you think you might need to make might not actually be the changes needed in order to bring yourself into what you're moving towards. So I want to talk about the notion of being willing to change internally first. Bringing back those little signs that I mentioned in my stories in the beginning and realizing how many synchronicities we might be experiencing a day that already have to do with what we're moving towards, that already have to do with that highest vision of ourselves. We're already communicating with them. They're already here. They're already here. And so what if we got to play with what we're already working with by just shifting a little bit, shifting even internally, just a little bit every day, making those tiny adjustments. Maybe it's waking up a little earlier. Maybe it's calling a friend, like this certain friend, to just chat about these certain things. Maybe it's making this connection. Maybe it's going to this group. Whatever it is, think smaller. Which is interesting because I'm always like, I'm ready to be big. Let's be big. I'm a life path 5, so I tend to be on the side where, the side of the spectrum where I go really big. I'm like, I'm going to make the biggest changes of my fucking life. And then I burn out because it's unsustainable. It's also a lot of the time the changes that we think we need to make aren't the ones that we really need to. And that is why when we start really small and we start to see those subtle shifts, we start to get clearer and clearer, because now we're starting to walk the path, right? We're starting to walk the path of our highest alignment. And every time we lift our foot up, and this comes up a lot in my Akashic record readings, when we lift our foot up, we allow space in between ourselves and what we're moving towards. And so our guides can start to come in, the universe can start to come in and help us guide us our foot back down. But I can't do that if we never lift our foot up when we're hanging out on this end of the spectrum, right? If we never lift our foot up, if we never get our foot off the ground, it can't show us the signs that it needs to show us. It can't give us the encouragement that we need, because we're stuck in like, I'm just waiting. It's not the right time. Like, oh, I got that sign, but like, it can't be that. It needs to be something bigger, right? Like, we'll convince ourselves that it's never the right time. And so when we play with this, shifting internally and shifting in a subtle way, and we start walking that path of, okay, like, I think I'm onto something here. Granted, it might not be like that, big aha moment of like, all of a sudden now the house is here, right? But things start to become clearer and clearer. You start to know yourself. This is really when your intuition starts to become really, really strong. Because when you start to bring your awareness into such a hyper focus of how you are acting, how you are thinking, and how you are moving throughout your day, instead of letting yourself be on autopilot, you bring your awareness to such a clear focus that when it's time to take the next step, you know with clarity exactly what you need to do. And then when you start to look back at the time, you thought like, oh, the gym that I need to go to every single day, I actually just needed to just simply do this. Simply like drink a smoothie in the morning to start my day and like have it radically change my entire day. It was starting to go work at a coffee shop once a week and start really embedding myself into the community instead of, going to this certain group or that. I'm just like throwing examples out of my fucking ass. But with that, we start to realize that these big shifts and big change that we need to make actually didn't need to be that big. And as you keep walking down that path, you'll start to see those signs start to come in. Things will start to align because you're moving in a way that is in alignment for you. It is not completely unattainable. You're working with what you have right now. The key is that you are beginning to act as if right now. So as if you're the person that has this, this, and this, you're them already. Because they are you, right? This is a version of you. So when you start to act as them now, all the decisions that you make and the words that come out of your mouth and where your energy starts to go begins to shift. It's playing with the notion of how you can start playing with your desires and start looking for proof rather than focusing on the reasons that you can't. And so when we start playing with our desires and playing with the universe, and we see those signs and we get that confirmation, and instead of doubting it, like, we just take it as a hell yes. We take it as okay, like, I'm onto something. Because maybe even this highest vision, a version of you that you think in your mind of where we're going actually is even better than what we could have even imagined. So when we make those big shifts, when we take it a little bit at a time, it starts to you start to have that breakdown of metamorphosis. You really start to bring yourself forward in a whole new way. And this is where quantum healing and the Akashic records can really help you with this. because it starts with energy, right? We are the highest currency is our energy, where our thoughts are going, where our actions are taking us, how we are spending our time. All of those little things are what is making the version of you that's today. And that is also making the version of you that is tomorrow. And so when we start to work with our own energy, and for me, this is like really when my quantum healing journey and working with energy in this way really started to really propel me into my soul mission, because I was working with the quantum. I was working with the energy around me. And so instead of like working against, being like, no, it has to be this way, or just like sinking my feet into the mud and just like forcing something to work that is not, I decided to co-create. I decided like, okay, like I realize that the way that I've been living my life is just like not working right now, clearly. So like, let's co-create together. And so quantum healing really is what started to shift, because I started shifting on the quantum level. I started shifting the energy, because energy moves very quickly. Energy moves very, very fast. And the Akashic Records is working with the quantum. The Akashic Records is the quantum. And so bringing the two of like bridging for me, the two of those together, of being like, okay, we're going to channel healings from the Akasha, because this is holding my soul history, like past, present, future realities. It is giving me the guidance that I needed, but it's also, we're channeling the healings in the body that we need. So then after my session, after these activations, I can move forward with a heightened awareness, so I can start making the physical changes I need, because the physical body, the 3D, takes a little longer to catch up than the energetic realm, because energy moves very, very quickly. So when you start shifting things on the energetic realm, and that's, when people talk about quantum leaping, like they're talking about literally energy moving so quickly that you were operating here and now you're operating up here. But we're still in this vessel, right? We need to bridge the two. And that is, again, why everything is so connected. When we're lifting up our foot and then putting it back down again on our next level, right? On our next level of expansion, it might take the body a little bit of time to start to catch up with how our energy is starting to operate, and to really start to bring forth the creations that our soul is like now really bringing forward and dying to make. And so that is why starting with those subtle shifts is really, really important. And that's why I love bridging the quantum healing and the Akashic Records together, because they're both amazing tools of how we can work with the energy around us and work with like the unlimited potent ass guidance that the Akashic Records is, while then bringing it into the physical and like allowing our bodies to catch up. It's incredible. And so I wanted to take a minute and really see how this is landing for you. Because it really is the notion that we have truly all that we need to start living our best lives and to start moving forward. We really do. And the Akashic Records and my practice with the Akashic Records has really taught me that. Yes, you can always go and get the course and work with this person, and getting support is the most amazing thing. And a lot of the times the Akashic Records is like, yes, no, go work with this person. Like, you need that support. But like, because you want to. Because you want to. Because you're curious. Not because you need to. There is never a need. Ever. The Akasha is never going to tell you like yes or no either. Like they'll give you guidance, because again, we're all co-creating together. We still have free will. You can get this guidance and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it, right? Like, it's always going to change, because you'll change. And so I just really, really understanding and learning the fact that really taking your power back And really harnessing into your power is realizing that you are a co-creator of your life, and you can have all these tools around you to help you, but really like all you need to do is believe in you, and you can start moving towards the path and the life and the vision of yourself that you've always dreamed of right now. And so allow yourself to just sit with that. And really notice where this is going for you. Notice how it makes you feel. Does it start to trigger something within you? Because it could, right? Very much being in the space of like, well, all these things have happened to me and I had no control over them. So, I have no control over anything. I'm a victim of my circumstance, which, yes, a part of us is, but also like, we don't have to be. We don't have to be, because our energy is more powerful than any external circumstance, because it's what we do with it. It's how we react to it. Because at the end of the day, when we are in this life, we are here to experience. And so really leaning in and really figuring out like, okay, like what is really holding me back? Because a lot of the time it's just simply ourselves. It's our belief systems that we believe are true about ourselves, whether that we can't do this or we have to do it this way, or, like, who am I to be this? And like really allow ourselves to just see where we're getting in our own way and noticing like how this little shift can start to change, because it is so connected. It's all connected into each other, whether we want to believe it or not. It is. And so when we start operating our lives from that lens of being like, okay, because I know I've reminded myself of this too. Like, I'm building a business right now. That's been like one of my main focuses. I left my corporate job and now I'm like, okay, she's a business bitch now. I gotta like start fucking doing this thing. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I have to drown myself into my work and work 20 hours a day trying to get my business off the ground and completely let my relationship and my home life and my personal life just go to shit, not eat all day, because I'm so hyper focused on this. Like, it's all connected. There are little things like making a meal at home where your body feels nourished so then your business can feel nourished. So your creativity feels nourished. It's all connected. It's hard to think about it in that way sometimes. And it can feel like, well, Megan, does that mean that I have to literally be perfect on all fucking fronts all the time? Because I know I say this because I feel that way too sometimes. It's really just finding your flow. It's finding your balance, because not everything is perfect all the time. We can't be like the perfect partner and have the house completely clean all the time and show up in our business and go to yoga every night. It's finding our flow and prioritizing rest. It's finding your flow and like letting it be enough. It's trusting yourself so much that exactly where you are and what you're being called to do that day is what you need. And trusting it, and trusting that like, okay, it might not feel like I'm like, climbing Mount Everest every single day in my business and I'm making these giant strides, but like, if I'm listening to my guidance and I'm trusting where I am being led, where it's like maybe today I'm focused on simply just rest. And then the next day I'm like, okay, like I'm going to like bust out some fucking content today. Or the next day I'm like, okay, like I'm really going to, I'm going to plan a date night and like really like get into my body, or plan a date night with my partner. Like, it's finding your flow and trusting yourself enough that you are exactly where you need to be, as long as you are holding yourself in a way that is also with the intention of acting as if. Because the version of you that is always going to bring you exactly where you need to be. Your highest self is your most important guide. And me realizing that and learning that, it was a game changer for me. Because I used to think, it's like, oh, I'm connecting with all of my spirit guides and my spirit team, my ascension team, and all my goddesses and like everyone is literally so fucking amazing. Like the amount of support that you have on the other side, it's something like even in my mind, there's not even a word for it. It's literally endless. Like I see literally endless amounts of souls and beings and, angels, guides, answers of folks that are on the other side for literally every single client that I have. It is endless, the amount of support that you have. But the person and really the number one main bitch that is here for you, guiding you, is you. It is your highest self. Let that sink in. You have all the answers that you need. You don't need anyone to tell you what to do. You don't need the signs even. The universe and the signs are here for you to just simply help you remember that you've got this, that you know. And so let yourself be your best guide. Let yourself be that bitch that knows exactly where she's going and exactly what they're doing. Like, let yourself be that girl and start acting as if, because the girl and the person that is acting as if will always bring you exactly where you need, and you won't get stuck in never doing anything, right? Because that's where we get really uncomfortable, is when we don't do anything at all and we're stuck in the, oh no, like, it's just not the right time. I need the money. I can't leave this job right now. What am I going to do? Like, codependent. You can name literally any fucking, any situation on the sun of the reason of why we're not ready to do something. But when you start acting as if, that is when things start to shift. That is when things start to change. And it's so powerful and it's so amazing. I invite you to start acting as if. I really do. And for me, a big gateway for that was diving into my quantum healing and my energy work. And so I invite you, if you feel called and you want to start to really dive into this work, come and work with me. I actually have my Akashic Healing sessions on sale this entire month in celebration for the launch of To Know Thyself. So if you're interested, they're 15% off right now. And that's probably the most they'll ever be discounted because they really are so potent. They are so powerful. I've never had a client leave and be like, that was all right. I mean, they've been incredible. I have seen clients have immediate shifts. They've been on fire in their business, or they've tapped into their womb space and allowed themselves to be open and feel pleasure and start to feel into their own conception portal. I've had other clients be able to start new jobs and with confidence and feel like they have been like, they're like, yes, like this is exactly where I need to be. It's really bringing in that your own confidence and feeling into your own power. That's what these sessions are. Like, yes, we're coming in and we're healing and we're releasing anything that is no longer serving you, but it's really a deep remembering of your own power. I'm here as a vessel, right? You are the magic. And so if you're ready to start to feel and really with your awareness, because you already are feeling your own magic, you just might not be believing it. But if you're ready to have someone look you in the eyes and tell you how beautiful and magical and incredible you are, because I'm literally feeling into the energy of your own soul, then let's do this damn thing. I have my Akashic Healing sessions. They're 15% off all month. So go ahead and take advantage. You don't need a code or anything. I've already discounted the price. So go ahead and take advantage of that. And then if you want to take a step even further, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, I've really been talking about my group program, The Empowered You. And to me, working with energy and working with activations and working with someone, a mentor, a guide, on a consistent basis, having someone hold you while you are moving through your metamorphosis is where I've made the biggest shifts of my life. It is where I made the biggest shifts. Because yes, the one-off sessions, the tune-ups, they're great. Sometimes you need like a shock to your system to like get you back to where you need to go. And you're like, okay, great. I got exactly what I needed. I'm ready to go. But then there are some other times where the shifts are really big. Like what we're moving through, what we're moving forward in, what we're moving towards is big. And so it requires creating a lot of space. It requires dismantling a lot of belief systems. And it requires a lot of faith and trust in yourself. And building that muscle can be hard. Building that muscle can be a journey. And so having someone hold you in that space to constantly remind you and also teach you how to build that muscle, to teach you how to trust yourself, to trust your wisdom, to tune into your body and have your body be your compass, because your body's always going to tell the truth. Your mind can contradict itself every day. Oh God. I mean, again, I'm emotional authority on human design. I can literally feel differently about something every single day, but my body is what remains true. And so in the Empowered You, it is 10 weeks of embodying the goddess within. And when I say embodying the goddess within, it is feeling that power of you, the power within you, and the goddess that resides in you, because she is all of it. She is the light. She is the dark. She is the joy. She is the grief. She is the pleasure. She is the tension. She is everything. And you are all of it too. So we are not here to shy away from the uncomfortable feelings we might experience when we are moving towards greatness. Because moving towards greatness does come some shadow. It comes some uncomfortable moments and some uncomfortable realities of like, damn, I can't believe I've been living this way. Like, damn, this person actually isn't as great for me as I thought. Or damn, the reason for my intimacy issues isn't anyone else's fault but mine. And it's not even my fault. It's just the fact that like we've been, as women, indoctrinated to hating our bodies so much and being so shameful of our own sensations and pleasures that we have completely disassociated. And sometimes it's a really tough pill to swallow. And so being in a container, in a space like the Empowered You, where I am here to hold you, to hold your hand as you walk through your metamorphosis. I'm here to help you look at your map and like your map of life so you can find your own key and unlock your own shackles. Like that is what I'm here. I don't need to unlock anything for you. I'm simply here to guide you. Because if I did it, if I was able to go from a life where I was so unexpressed, so lost, so fucking broke and broken, and genuinely a miserable person, to being the most expressed, the most lit up, where I'm here to be able to talk to you today. I'm in a house that I fucking manifested with a partner that I manifested from a time where I still sometimes can't believe the miracles that have happened to bring me to this point. And it's because I did the work and I believed in myself. I believed in myself enough to know that I was worth it. I believed in myself enough to know that I was worthy of this. So the Empower You, in short, is a 10-week activation of deep remembering of the power within you. We're going to be talking about some topics we'll cover are your soul desires, your connection with your inner child, and using play as medicine, sexual alchemy, right? We're bridging my playful energy with my womb priestess, connecting with your body. If you follow me on Instagram, I talk about this a lot. You want to talk about manifesting? You can't talk about manifesting without bringing it back into the womb space, your creative portal. We create from the space. So to think that all we need is to get clear on what we're desiring and be completely disattached from our womb space, it's going to take us a lot longer to get there. We need this. We need the space. So really talking about sexual alchemy and using pleasure as healing, as deep, intimate healing, and as a way to manifest. The power of sex magic, like life-changing. It's life-changing. Reclaiming your voice and using your voice as your authentic truth. Have you ever had dreams where you can't scream? Have you... I'm like feeling the block right now from like the collective. Like, have you had words that just can't seem to come out of your mouth? Usually that means, or have you gotten really defensive when you've tried to maybe explain a part of your truth and like have completely shut down? A lot of that is the witch's wound. A lot of that is just being so unable to express because we felt unsafe to really voice our truth. And so with this, we're here to activate this space, bring in the goddess Hathor to really bring in this space. We're talking to, we're going to get into Isis with sexual alchemy. We'll talk about money, magnetism, and manifestation because, again, they're all connected. We wonder why money isn't coming through. But then if we're avoiding our expenses and we're avoiding looking at our bank account, like it's all connected. We're embodying your innate power. And at the end, we're going to do this hella amazing goddess activation. So we'll talk about all these amazing topics that will ignite deep remembering in you, in your conscious mind. And then I'll be opening up the records and channeling the healings and the activations from the records of all of us as we sit in divine sisterhood, because this is a group program, because we are here to sit in sisterhood. We are here to heal together because we don't need to do this alone. We're not meant to do this alone. And so for me, this really bridges the best of both worlds. Like, I'm here to talk to you in the physical. I'm here to help you implement these tools in your physical body. And then we open up the records and we channel the activations from the goddesses that we work with, from your highest selves, into this container. So we are shifting the physical and the energetic. We're working with both because it is the connection with both of how we really make those big shifts and big changes. So if the Empowered You is not launching until August, but if you hear all of this and you're like, oh my fucking God, I need to be in this. I already know this is a hell fucking yes. I'm giving folks that want to enroll before its official launch a early bird special rate. So please DM me, email me, reach out on my website, and let's chat, because honestly, it's going to be the biggest quantum leap you will ever take in your life. This program, I feel so big in me. It was channeled through me before I went into ceremony in June, and it has been the one really, really, it just feels fucking big. If I'm going to be honest, it feels huge. And I feel the souls that are being called to this. And it's I know we're going to create fucking magic. We're creating fucking magic together. And I can't wait. I feel like I'm really just stepping into the work that I'm meant to do. And I'm so fucking pumped to bring this to you. So if you feel called, you know where to find me. Let's do it. Let's make magic. What are you waiting for? And then last but not least, because of, because this is like my summer of celebration. My birthday's in August. We launched To Know Thyself. We have the Empowered You. Like, things are like so fucking exciting. So this is truly my summer of celebration. So with that, I want to do a giveaway. I want to do a giveaway for the podcast because I love y'all so much. And I can't thank you enough for listening and being here and supporting me on this journey. Honestly, I really am so incredibly grateful for you. So with that, I want to do a giveaway. So please leave a review, leave 5 stars, write a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts, send me a screenshot and DM it to me on Instagram. So also make sure you're following me at Spirits Unbound on Instagram. Send me your DM and you will be entered into my giveaway, which will be, you get a choice of 2 prizes, either a free Akashic healing journey with me. How exciting is that? Or a $200 credit off of the Empowered You. Your choice. A $200 credit off of the Empowered You is literally probably the best deal you could possibly ever get on a 10-week group program. I can't emphasize it enough where the value you are getting from this program at the price that I'm launching it at is fucking incredible. So you can either test me out, test drive, go for a little test drive for yourself with a free Akashic healing session with me, or $200 off the Empowered You. You can't really go wrong with both. You can't go wrong with either, honestly, but it's a great giveaway nonetheless. So please, please, please give me a fucking solid. Leave me 5 stars on podcasts. Leave me a review. Send it to me on the DM. If you're watching me on YouTube, like and subscribe, please. Leave a comment. Send that as your DM. Still DM me on Instagram. Send it on through. And it's going to be really exciting. You'll have until 8:08, so August 8th, Lionsgate portal. You'll have until 8:08 to enter into this giveaway. So I'll keep the giveaway going for a few weeks, and then the winner will be announced on 8/10, the day before my birthday, and before Spirits Unbound birthday, because I am the most. And as a Leo, of course, my birthday is a big deal. But then I also wanted my business to have the same exact birthday as me. So Spirits Unbound will be turning 1 and I will be turning 30. So just so if you didn't already think that the Empowered You and the work that we're stepping into together and Spirits Unbound in general is going to be fucking big. August is going to be really fucking big. This is going to be, you just don't miss out. Just don't miss out is all I have to say. It's going to be the month of a lifetime. 1 year of Spirits Unbound and my 30th birthday. Holy shit. And here we are. Isn't that nuts? I know you're no, because I'm here. But me talking to me a year ago, just launching Spirits Unbound for the first time, I'm holy shit, that's fucking nuts. Oh my gosh. Okay. I think that's really all I have to say today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so honored to be here connecting with you in this way. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Follow me on Instagram at Spirits Unbound, and be sure to take advantage of this giveaway. I'm not going to just give away things all the time. So take advantage of the giveaway. Take advantage of my Akashic healing sessions being on sale, because also I don't put those on sale often either. It's my summer of celebration and I'm doing that with purpose. So take advantage of that. And then also when I start my group program, I'll be limiting my one-on-ones because I want my energy to really be on this group program. So if you are curious and you want to get that one-on-one support, you just sneak your way on through and book with me. Link in the show notes. Okay. I'm sending you so much love, all of the blessings as you embark on the rest of your week. I hope you had an amazing week so far. I realize these drop on Thursdays, which I've been really enjoying. So I hope you've been enjoying them too. It gives me more time because I also work for Align Within, and there's drops on Tuesday. I hope you go and listen to that as well, because we had a great episode come out this week as well on Align Podcast. I'm plugging all of my things. But yeah, I just love a Thursday moment. So, okay. I love y'all so much. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll talk soon.